Always use a bit of diluted bleach for your tools and that, so you don't spread any diseases. Most of these have already been done, but just doing it again so you guys do it. We're using this as well today. Okay, so we're going to be doing a graft on this tree. It's a plum tree, but make sure they're actually budding, because you need to have them budding, otherwise success rate is a lot lower. So you see some buds there, some buds here, some buds at the top there. So we're going to use this for one of the grafts. It's a grafting tool. So we're going to look at our cyan here. It's apricot. There might be a peach in there too. I just kept these in the fridge because if I didn't, they'd already start budding and we'd be behind. So this is a peach, and these are all the apricots. So we'll just get a section of the apricot that looks the same thickness as what we're going to be grafting. Okay, so we get one of the lower pieces. You only need a few eyes. This one's covered in them, so. And then we'll get our grafting tool, pop it in there nicely. So that's what happens with the grafting tool. And then we'll look for the section here and we'll make the opposite incision. So it's the opposite, this away. I always like to add a little bit of plant cutting powder. I don't always, but yeah. So a little bit, don't need it on the outside. So, and then that will slot over perfectly. We'll make good contact, and then we'll wrap it with our grafting tape.
Is that similar to cling wrap?
It's similar, but it's not. It's grafting tape.
Can't use cling wrap?
You could if you didn't have grafting tape. Use anything that will sort of stretch and seal, and Glad wrap would do the same thing. Okay, so secure it. Try not to move it away from where you had the graft, and then just bring it around. A little tighter around the bottom. Tear it off. Anything that's mess up the tree below. Cut off. Then you just, it's a different one, but it's in my way. So cut those all off. Cut those all off. Cut that off.
And what does that help do?
That helps the graft. So it's only shooting there. And if you see buds sticking out that start growing, just cut them off or just flick them off. So that's off. And then just put some tape around the base of this to keep it on. But sometimes it'll just stick on, but which it did, which is good. So we don't have to, and that's pretty much done there. That's the apricot graft on the plum tree. And I'll have a look. Might be able to do something with this one as well. Not going to get much out of it, it's the only problem. A little bit worried about this one. Doesn't have many eyes. That would be useful. This is probably not the best sample, but don't have much of this peach. And these grafts are pretty much the right height because this plant's in a pot, so when you put it in the ground it'll be lower. Okay, so once again you've got the cut, and if you wanted to use this as a sign, you could. It's just that I don't need that. It's a wild plum. Good contact.
How long will it take for this to bond?
Should take maybe, I've noticed here, 2 weeks. But depending on the weather and other variables, it just depends. You know, if you get a heat wave coming in and you've done them late, it's not going to make it. Or if frost is going to come in, oops, there we go. Or that won't help you. Oh, this one's smaller. We'll have to make another one. Buds.
Yeah.
That's the problem. It has no buds, so it's a little bit worrying. Got to get the grafts done now.
So now that you've done this,
Yep.
do you have to water this plant a bit more often now, or
No, usually I don't change any of the watering.
no more than usual?
No more than usual. No, don't change any of that sort of stuff. It's all pretty much the same. But you got to get them. This is the season to be doing it, just as they're budding. If you wait too long, and you haven't put any signs away in the fridge, in like where the chiller is, you're going to find that you've got signs already too far gone. You need them dormant, so they have to be dormant. And the rootstock has to be budding. That's some of the main things. These are all dormant. There's no real budding. This is how they are most of the year round. So they're quite good. Don't use a sign that's like this. Now that's perfect to graft onto as a rootstock, but not as a sign. That's too far gone. A split graft here on this plum tree. It's got a side that's quite good, but I might have to just do it here. So that's what we're going to work with, just there. Cut everything else off. I'll leave that one because I want half tree, so we'll have to keep that there. Try not to force it too much, otherwise you'll split all the way down. It can happen if you're not patient and you put too much force. Okay, now we have our sign here. I'll probably cut that down a little bit, big. Has many eyes. Just get the V happening, pretty much like what the tool usually does, or this is a bit sharper, because I need it to be.
Finer.
Yeah.
Just to fit in the split.
Yeah. Okay, so make sure you leave the skin back end. You don't have to. Not everybody does. Put that on it. And we just
Has a better chance though, right?
yeah. Especially if you've got to wait another year for it. And you slide the graft in.
Oh, I can't see it.
You can't see. I'll do the front one. You'll notice the front one. Okay, you push it all the way down.
Oh yeah.
One's in, and I'll do this one as well.
You can put two in it.
Yeah, they're fit.
Okay.
Double the chance. Okay, so it's nice.
Okay. Hormone.
Yep. Don't want to get in the way. Nope, this is getting in the way. Let's take that off. So you got a nice contact there. Make sure it's get nice skin contact. Now we'll just strap it up and we're good to go. Good here. It's not very strong, this thing. It's tape. It's not very handy for me. I need it to bond it tightly. Okay, so that's on, and you know, usually you would cut this off if you weren't keeping the other species of fruit, but type of fruit, but we want both on that one. So but yeah, so this is a peach tree, a white peach, and it's been grafted with a nectarine. As you can tell, this is where the graft was. It's not exactly in the right spot, but at the time it was fine. This year we grafted 3 years ago. This is a plum tree. The rootstock is a plum tree, and the sign at the time was an actual Satsumi plum, and we did a double one on this one, and it's going very well. Over here we've grafted another plum tree to this. We had to put this on because we had a lot of frost. So you can see here that it's budding quite well. It's actually even got a flower, which is quite funny. This is actually a large plum, almost the size of an apple, which is the same as this one. This was last year, but we had a bit of a setback with it last year. As you can tell, see all the graft is coming through as a split graft. And we had a bit of trouble with snails eating all the buds, and it stumped it last year. So this year's should be coming through. So now pellets down. Here's our other cyan, and this one here is also grafted this year, and we've got a shoot coming up now.